is that lady's crazy, that lady's psycho,
Yep.
toxic, and had so much prior experience in reality TV that she knew making a big moment would have made her a big character. The most amount of people that have made trouble for my life are Christian. You want to go to war? Let's go to war. I mean, I was working for a mega church, one of the largest churches in the country. Weeks later, I found out that she was sleeping with my old roommate. Episode 1 of the Figuring Out podcast. I literally cannot believe that we're here. And if you're listening right now, I just want you to understand, like, you are a part of a true passion project for me. The fact that you're listening right now, you have no idea. Like, this has been a dream of mine for so long. I'm so excited the fact that we're kicking this thing off. I've been afraid. It's been a lot, in the name of the podcast, Figuring Out this podcast has been a lot, but we are here today. You're listening to my voice. You're listening to this episode. I'm so thankful that you're here, but I'm not here alone. I'm here with a really, really good friend of mine, the best co-host that I could have asked for on the first 2 episodes, and in episodes to come moving forward is my buddy Mikey Franco.
Come on now.
Mikey, I would love for you to just kind of introduce yourself, some of the things that you're a part of and that you do before we jump in.
Yeah, man. So excited to be on. You've been talking about this for a long time, so I'm glad we're really doing this thing. And I hope my contract gets extended past 2 episodes. I guess it depends on how I do on this one. But yeah, Mikey Franco. I've known Matt for, it's been 10 years
10
now.
years,
almost.
man.
That's a
literally
gross
2017.
That's a gross thought. We've known each other for a long time. I know pre-Big Brother Matt. I know during Big Brother Matt and after. I own a wedding company. It's called Mosaic Weddings, and I'm super fired up to be a co-host with you on this first 2 episodes of this podcast.
Yeah,
Figuring it out.
We're going to tag them and everything.
Come on.
If you guys are looking to get married or something
now.
like that, Mosaic is a great route to do that. And Mikey's amazing at what they do. So
Let's dive into it. But we have some things to talk about when it comes to you.
a lot.
Let's do it, dude.
I just want to address up top, people are going to ask, where's Mackenzie? Why is Mackenzie not the co-host? But here's why Mikey's the right person for these conversations, because Mackenzie and I actually recorded 2 episodes prior. I've been teasing this on my social media for a long time, but really it's 2 reasons why, Mikey's the best person for this conversation, and what I learned in filming some of the first 2 episodes that I ended up tossing out is, 1, it is so hard, bro, to perform when Mackenzie knows me so deeply and intimately. Like, she knows everything about me and I know everything about her. Right. I know how she felt about things in the game. I know the emotions behind
You
some
guys
of
have
those
already had
things
these conversations
1,000 times, right? And it's hard to sit and act like I don't know. Right. And I care so much about what we're doing in this medium of communication and helping people and putting out content like this for people that I just don't want it to be inauthentic. And so that's why, feedback from when we watched back episode 1 and 2 of previously recorded, I wanted to do it in a different way.
Totally.
I didn't want it to feel inauthentic and performative, and have to fake that I don't know what she was thinking and going through some of the things that we have gone through.
And disclaimer, she'll be back.
She will be back.
She will be
back. And she's amazing, and she's so great at this. So I'm excited to have her back. Number 2 is the fact that this is a podcast where I am hosting, and these are going to be my real thoughts, my real opinions on some things that have happened on the show, after the show, with our cast, about life, culture, reality, lifestyle removed from the show. And I don't want necessarily her to be entrapped by some of my thoughts, because they're going to be I'm just going to let you know, if you're listening right now, this is going to be candidly what I think. This is not something I'm creating to perform for you. This is going to be genuinely my thoughts, my opinions that I hope are helpful for you and entertaining for you. But I don't want her to be so entrapped by these are Matt and Mackenzie's thoughts. These are just Matt's thoughts.
Yeah.
So
we're going to dive right into it.
So that's why we got Mikey on here, and I'm excited to have him.
And this works, man, because we've known each other for 10 years, but there's some gaps where I didn't see, you didn't see me, I didn't see you for a long period of time. So I'm actually genuinely curious about a lot of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And kind of leading into the show and after the show, I feel like there's a 3-parter, right? Matt before the show, Matt on the show, Matt after the show.
Right.
And it's cool. It's been awesome to see your authenticity in all those spheres, but
Appreciate
I know
that.
there's been a lot of change also.
A lot.
Within each one of those spheres.
Yeah.
Can we start with Matt before the show?
Let's do it. Yeah. So it's really funny. I let's go all the way back, right?
How many people do you think listening, especially these Big Brother fans, know Matt before the show?
I think very little. I think they might have watched the show and been like, oh, here's a really dramatic situation.
Totally. That guy fishes. That's what we know.
I know, right? Here's like a little, here we got a piece of his story, but dude, there's so much left off 100%. The table. I feel like from because I was robbed of a lot of time on the show of the story behind what I think would have been told in my experience, and that's why I'm excited to kind of do this and flesh some of that out. Yeah. So funny enough, I grew up in like a really interesting household. So my mom is a first-gen immigrant from the Philippines, and my dad was born in 1943. So he's in his early 80s. Wow. And it kind of just created for a really unique upbringing because I had a mom who did not come from the United States, and I had an elderly father, and just grew up in a unique household. So for me, a lot of the things that I wrestled with and kind of just like transpired in the way that I looked at life was through that lens, right? And then, pretty quickly my parents decided to put me into a Christian high school, a private school, which was a big financial commitment for our family, but my dad felt the conviction that that was the right decision. And I was not a Christian at the time.
I was about to say, did you grow up Christian? Was that a decision then?
So one thing I'm really thankful for, and I do think that my parents did really well, was they gave me the freedom to kind of become and, transition into whatever worldview or person I wanted to be. So they made the decision to put me into a Christian school, but I was not necessarily a Christian at the time. And bro, I was pissed. I mean, in my public school at the time, in the middle school I would have went to, in the high school I would have went to, it was like more opportunities with sports. I had a ton of friends that I had to leave behind, and I was furious. But my dad made the decision on my behalf, and so I went to a Christian school as a non-Christian myself, and grew up in the church. Grew up in faith, but had never really made that my own. And so I went to that Christian school, and man, really quickly, and it's something that I'm so excited to talk about more on the podcast, was I kind of felt at the time like I like the idea of following Jesus. I like the idea of faith, like living a faith-centered lifestyle, but I hate the representation that I'm receiving from people of faith or people who say they are Christian or people who say they are surrendered to following this guy named Jesus. And that was really hard on me as a young person. And I felt like the most amount of people that have made trouble for my life, even to this day, are Christians. Like no doubt in my mind. Right. The people that have made the most trouble for me in my life have been Christians. Yeah. And at the time, I mean, I'm a big personality. Like I'm really loud. And
breaking news.
Yeah, if you didn't know. And so I came in and I felt like I was this unorthodox, like non-cookie cutter mold of what Christian society said that I needed to be, which was like, all the hymns, you've done the same trajectory of like how you're supposed to live. At the time, I was like, I'm going to do life my way. I'm going to play sports. I'm going to take it, but I don't have to like subscribe to everything these people say they're subscribing to. And like I said, I mean, sure enough, kind of found out that a lot of the people that I feel are glorified for this lifestyle of faith-driven, following Jesus, I felt like were the people gossiping about me the most, making my life the most difficult, and honestly were the most inauthentic and fake. Right. And I made a decision early on in my life, like I do not want to be like them. Got it. And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go do life in my own way, in my own regard. And so long story short, I was unsaved. I did not follow Jesus at the time. And I had a lot of good people trying to pour into my life. I was getting kicked out of class. I had like a 2.3, 2.2 GPA entering into high school. Like I was about to flunk out. And my principal pulls me to the side. And he's basically like, I'd gotten kicked out of class, like kicked out of art class. I remember we were making
art class.
Yeah. We were making masks, like paper mache masks.
Not for you.
And yeah, well, it was kind of like we were supposed to make this like tribal vibe, whatever. Yeah. And I made a platypus.
Naturally.
A platypus.
That's the first thing I think of when I think of masks.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I was like, I can make a beak on the sky, paint it turquoise, and it's going to be hilarious. And so I was like, this will make everybody laugh. Right. And so my teacher kicks me out. And she, she's kind of like, if you don't straighten up, I'm gonna send you to the principal's office. And I'm like, I'm so arrogant at the time. I'm like, bro, do it. You think I'm scared to like go to the principal's office? Like, this is my first time.
Right.
I walk in the next day. He calls me in after I got sent in the day prior, and he's like, hey Matt, I am getting pressure on if I'm going to allow you to stay at the school. And my hands are tied behind my back. There's decisions that you've made, and you're getting kicked out. Your grades are low. You have this bad reputation. And he's like, I'm being pressed to make a decision on if you are a good fit to continue on in our school. And I mean, granted, at the time, like, I'm one of the few, like, I'm just gonna straight out say, like, not white people at my school, and come from a ethnic household. And my family was in a different, tax bracket.
Sure.
My family didn't own a business. My mom's worked at Chick-fil-A for over 20 years. She's definitely more popular than me in my hometown, even
100%.
post Big Brother. My dad didn't own a business. He was a police officer, retired from DeKalb County Police Department. And I always felt like an outlier because of that. And he's like, my hands are tied, and I have to make a decision on if I'm going to continue to be here and attend our school or not. And he just looked at me and was like, I think you have too much potential to let you go that easy.
Wow.
And I didn't know this at the time, but he was our principal of our upper school, but was also a part-time pastor. And so he goes, basically, here are your options: is you are going to show up every morning at 6:30, and you're going to start reading the Bible. There was like no choice. He was like, hey man, you're going to start reading the Bible, and we're going to talk about it.
Wow.
And if anything you have to wrestle and struggle with, you are going to talk about with me. Wow. You're not going to deal with it on your own. You're just going to come in here and we'll talk about it. If you have an issue with the way that you feel like one of the teachers dealt with you, dealing with somebody else, you feel like this culture that you stepped into, you're wrestling with, you process that here with me in my office. And I didn't have a choice. I was a freshman at the time. And so I started meeting with him every morning at 6:30, and I would just read the Bible because he was forcing me to. And slowly he just started to break down those barriers. And so after a while, long story short again, I ended up giving my life to Jesus. And I basically at the time was like, if I don't give this a shot, how can I say that it's not real?
Right. Right.
And as a freshman in high school, it's the only way I had to kind of like discern between that. Right. And at the time, I was running away from home. My relationship with my parents was broken. I'm a problem child for real. I'm flunking out of school. My relationships suck. Mm-hmm. I'm like about to get kicked out. And I was like, I just got to give this a shot, because if I don't give it a shot, I'll never be able to say that it's not legit. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. And slowly, man, the scriptures I was reading, those pieces of the Bible that I was reading just started to change my life. And I have a master's degree in theology, like from one of the top seminaries in the world.
My favorite part is knowing the ending of the story.
Yeah,
at the beginning.
Yeah. And to this day, there's no theological standing that I can have besides the fact that it just like happened to get up in my life and change everything. And I made the decision. I knew like so many people at my little, uniform cookie cutter Christian school were going to say like, I know what Matt did last weekend. I know the type of life he lives. I know who he is, and talk whatever talk they want to talk. I knew at the time they were going to be like, he's not for real. And it was going to create more problems for me. But I was like, I'm just going to make this decision and do it for real. And so I made the decision. I was like, I'm going to surrender my life to Jesus, and I'm going to do it. And if it runs me dry, and I'll figure it out from there. And made that decision.
I think that's probably going to be somewhat of a theme in this, your podcast probably a whole, but definitely in this conversation, is how it's not necessary to be structured in how we get somewhere per se. Like, I don't think anyone would have said someone with a master's degree in theology would have gotten there by being forced to read the Bible at 6:30 in the morning by their principal at the time. But that's sometimes just how it goes.
Yeah. And for me, it was just like real.
Right.
And so at the time, like, there wasn't this like cultural influence for me. It wasn't like I just grew up in this thing and have to like take it, Right. For me, it was like, I don't have any other choice. Like everything in my life is crumbling and not working. Yep. And it's worth taking and making that decision. So I did. And from that moment, like I had a 2.3, ended up graduating with a 3.6, and never made another B until my master's degree.
Wow.
And I ended up like building, programs at our school that poured into younger people that were like me. Because at the time, I just felt like my life could never amount to anything. And that was the rhetoric I feel like that they were pouring into my life. It was like I could not ever become anything because of who I was at the time. At the time I was 15. Like that's not even who I'm fully formed to be. And that was wrong. And so I had this conception of myself, like I am a bad person. At 15, 14, I'm a bad person. I'm never going to amount to anything good and positive. And because of that, like this is just the cards I've been dealt. And then following Jesus, having faith gave me this hope that like my life could matter. Wow. And it's not even like this religious thing for me. It was more so like the theological implications behind the history behind Christians and faith that is messy and at times hard to wrestle with. For me, it was just like, at the time, my life is improving. And that's the only theological, theology I have to cling on to. And so I started to like move forward with that. I never made another B. I started excelling in school and pouring into people that were like me. I just wanted people to know, like, you have hope. You have hope in your life. Wow. And you can become something that is even bigger than what you feel like at the time you have even the capacity to become. And so I was the captain on the football team ever since I was a sophomore. And football became something like an outlet for me that I started to excel at and have fun doing. I thought I was going to play college football. Different plans, different things shook out. I ended up going to Kennesaw State University where we met and just being a normal student. And at the time, I remember feeling like every single major I chose was just non-sufficient. It was not satisfying, like what I feel like I was called to do. Right. And I went in as like, maybe I'll be like a nonprofit director of this big thing that helps people, or I'll, I don't know, like be some kind of like news anchor for a sports team and kind of mesh this like draw towards communication and I don't know, sports. And I remember like I had a friend that like who looked at me and was basically like, Matt, everybody who meets you knows that you are supposed to be in ministry, like helping people that were like you, and you're the only one that just can't see it. And I was like, oh shoot, you're totally right.
Before that realization, do you think you had the servant's mindset the whole time, or when did you pick that up?
Kinda. I mean, I think for me, like there was nobody that helped me. Right. I had like that one principal who got into my life and changed everything. But for the most part, it was so many like blockades that were I was facing and coming up against, and I felt like I couldn't get past. And I just felt like I just had this feeling like every single portrayal of what a faith-centered person is this like image of, what Christian culture tells us has to be. And there's no one like me who just knows like, hey bro, like I'll listen to music you listen to. Like sometimes I cuss. Right. Like, I live similarly to you. I relate to you. But I also, when I think about who I want to become, it is this type of person, it's this type of man, this type of father, this type of leader. Yeah. And so for me, I was just like, there's no one like me in this space. I'm tired of it being, you got to have this cookie cutter white Christian male. That is the only thing I have to subscribe to when I don't fit that. Yeah. And that was difficult for me. And so I was basically like, I want to go into the space and disrupt it and be myself, like be passionate about all that's happened and has been done in my life and rewrite this narrative. So, cause I know there's a kid who's like, there's no way I can subscribe to this faith because there's no representatives of me. 100%. And I wanted to basically come in and be like, hey, let me be that for you. I am like you. I come from a background like you. I have had to figure out where is my standing in this country and culture, X, Y, and Z, because of like the position that I've been put in my life. Yeah. And know there is room for you to fit that and fit that well and fit that with hope and promise and future. Absolutely. In people that look like you.
It was in college for me where I first saw someone we both know,
Yeah.
in that position of leadership in the church, or just, mentorship to the both of us, really, who looked like us, but also who was relatable, right?
Right.
Like I didn't feel like I had to enter that room, which I think this is very Jesus-like, a different way.
Right.
I could enter as I was, and then we could go from there. We could figure it out. We're keeping a tally of how many times we say "figure it out" on the Figuring It Out podcast. By the way,
shout out, no shout out.
I think it's 2 now. Yeah, I think that's awesome, and I relate to that story. I feel like I went through a very similar one at the same exact college in the same exact church setting that we went to. The development of Matt now going into ministry.
Yeah. I didn't want to go into vocational ministry because I didn't want to be broke. I was like, I don't want to eat like ramen noodles for the rest of my life.
Not ideal.
And there is a stigma behind pastors that they will never be able to provide financially. So I was like, I'm going to do this little thing. I'm going to go into like sports broadcasting. I'm going to do something in public communication and run that, and knowing that this is where I will always end up because I can't let go of the transformation that's happened in my life. Right. So I made the decision at the time. I'm like, screw it, man. Like, I'll eat ramen noodles. I'm not afraid of that. And
they're not bad.
Ramen noodles are great.
They're pretty
shout
solid.
out to chicken. Shout out to beef. Ramen noodles. You want to sponsor this podcast?
Yeah, vote your favorite.
Come on in.
Wow.
But I was like, I'll do it. I will never be able to like put this to rest until I do it. So at the time, I ended up, long story short, again, working for one of the largest churches in America and entering post-college into their program that paid for my seminary, and I got to work for their high school ministry and pour into students that were like me, just like looking for hope and wrestling with all of the things that you have to, in terms of this podcast, figure out as a high schooler and wrestle with them together and basically try to be a good influence on them. So I did that, in the deep end at the fullest degree that you could. And I worked for this large church in front of big crowds, and I was the youngest director that they had ever hired in the history of their organization at 23.
Wow.
And was leading one facet of their giant ministry, managing this huge 6-figure budget. Wow. And preaching in front of these big crowds. I'm sure some of them you've probably sat in, like
absolutely
thousands of people. Yep. And that was weird. I mean, it was hard. And again, this is something in episodes to come, I'm excited to talk about, of the intricacies behind the backdrop and pulled curtain of church model and structure that is making it difficult for people like us, and so many people that have responded to, as I've shared my faith on my, social media and public profiles, of suffering with church hurt and dealing with avenues that have to deal with that. I'm excited to talk about in the future of the podcast.
A bit of foreshadowing there, and I know that's probably going to be its own episode.
100%.
Dive into that.
Multiple episodes.
Yeah, no kidding. So, spoiler alert, that didn't end the way you thought it would.
It did not. So it's such a long story, and again, I'll flesh it out in further episodes, but for the sake of brevity, I end up not leaving ministry, not going back. I just started to wrestle with the business side of megachurch. I was working for a megachurch, one of the largest churches in the country, and I was somebody who came in because I was such a reckless, person in my youth, and had this stuff get into my heart, and it changed everything. And that's why I wanted to do it. That's why I cared about it. And I started to wrestle with like, we're sitting here in meetings talking about stadiums and lights and X, Y, and Z. I know I've got a kid in my ministry who has a parent that has passed away recently. I have a student in my ministry who is of a certain sexuality and feels like they don't know how they can continue to press on forward because of their identification with their sexuality. I have students who are dealing with depression and anxiety and suicide and substance abuse. Crazy stories. Right. And I don't have time to sit and talk about where are we going to put this light?
Right.
How big do we want the LED screen
much fog
to be?
is coming in?
Yeah. No way. I feel like the organization at the time started to combat me because of that. And honestly, to my own fault, I'd go into meetings just being like, I don't give a rat's ass about the situation because I have kids who need somebody in their life and I care about it. And because I was that, like I needed somebody to pour into me and to give a damn about my life.
Yeah.
And so I, went into so many meetings like that. It started to hurt my reputation, and stupid little things that happened, they ended up like letting me go.
Yep.
And that was hard.
Yeah.
So that is like what, November of like 2022, 2023, I guess. And I'm like, when I leave ministry and I don't want to go back, I'm like, I'm going to go make some freaking money, son.
Now.
Like, I don't have to do this.
Now we're thinking.
Right. I don't have to be broke. Screw the ramen noodles. Let's get some steak, baby. Like, I'm about to go make some money because I feel like I have all this talent. I have a lot of leadership experience. And so I'm going to go make money. And so I ended up going to the corporate world, and I worked for a large tech company. And I do that for a little while. Around this time, I started dating this girl. And to me at the time, like, throughout my entire life, I had always thought I was going to be a pastor for my entire life. And with that came like, you need to be with a girl who can understand and also stand in that regard with you. That was the pressure that was put on me.
That is 4 episodes right there.
We can break that down in the future. Like, it was so hard to basically be like dating was hard at that time, because it was like, not only do we have to figure out how do we vibe, do we relate? It's like, we have to sit and say, can you be a pastor's wife? Can you basically be a pastor as well? And I mean, who the heck at 23 is ready for that? It's like not fair.
Yeah.
So when I got out of ministry, I was like, I don't have to have a pastor's wife anymore. I can have, if you have faith, if you love God, if we align, we vibe, like, I can just check it.
Yep.
So really quickly, I was like, I'm going to get out of here and like go back in the dating pool and try to find somebody I can just check that box. And then I don't have to have these pressures on me anymore. So I started dating this girl like really quickly as I get out of ministry and go into the corporate world, where I'm like, I have the opportunity to make a lot of money. I'm starting to make more money, and I started dating this girl. So again, long story short, with that, I think at the time, like, I was just so excited to get out of this, like, I don't have to any longer date a pastor's wife, that I negated a lot of the process that I feel like is wise to go into a relationship with somebody else. And again, long story short, we date, I'm in the corporate job, and she is really toxic and hurtful. At the time in my life, what was happening is I was living with a guy I had met, who at the time who I thought was a friend. We had moved into an apartment, and part of the issue that I had with living with him as I was in ministry is like, this was a guy who, he was new to the city of Atlanta. I was really well established in the city of Atlanta, have a lot of friends. I mean, I grew up here, and I think he was trying to find like his bearings and his footing, and saw me as somebody who's so well connected and knows all these people. But it was hard because at the time he was very unhealthy for me to be around. Like, everything he centered his life around was going out and drinking. He didn't want to do anything unless like pretty girls were involved. I mean, I was coming home to basically being like, what girl did he meet on Hinge that's going to be at his apartment, or he's not going to be at our apartment because he's with some girl from Hinge, like, constantly. So I'm making the decision, like, I'm getting out of here. This is not good for the direction I'm going. And I thought he would be one of my best friends, We got along on a lot of stuff, and we had a lot of good memories together, but who he was behind closed curtains, I was like, it was eating me alive, because I knew I couldn't become like this guy. So I started dating this girl. She helps me move out of this apartment with this guy, and helps me move out, helps me get all my stuff, pack everything up. She saw how messy our apartment was because of this guy's lifestyle. She knew everything behind like how badly I needed to get out of the situation. I go and live with some buddies I met at the gym who were aligned with where I wanted to go, the type of man I wanted to be. And I move in with them. She helps me move into this house, and it's in the same city that she lives in. And we just continue on our relationship. She's really unhealthy, really toxic. And honestly, like, I'm dealing with a lot of the hurt and trauma from being a part of mega church and the current model of church that we have, and moving on from that.
There was a lot of immediate change.
I mean,
a clear path. This is where I'm heading, especially in ministry. Because like when someone's pushing ministry, that's one ladder you're climbing. Right?
Yeah.
And now corporate world, new insight to how we're going to date, new roommate and new friend situation, how we're going to handle that, whole new group of roommates, it sounds like, with this place you're moving into. A lot of different changes you're navigating. And then, of course, the one who's closest in that was tough. The girl situation became kind of frustrating.
Yeah, and I feel like one thing in that regard that I've learned, like that I've figured out, is change is always accompanied with some level of grief. I didn't understand that as I was getting older. Like, things change so fast when you're in your mid-20s, early 20s, late 20s. People you're around are changing, your career situation's changing, whatever it may be. There's still some level of like grief that's associated with change.
Change requires loss.
It has loss, which requires grief.
Yep.
There's a part of the healing process in grief that you have to go through in order for you to move on. And I really wrestled with that, and I did not grieve.
Right.
And I needed time to just say, like, something has changed and I lost something because of that change. And I'm in a new place because of that. And so I'm in this relationship and it's toxic and unhealthy. She's like not letting me go to the gym because she's like so stressed about me going to the gym and other girls at the gym seeing me. Like, it's just crazy stuff. I ended up gaining like 40 pounds from who I was.
Not the support needed at that time.
Not at all.
Right. At what point of the dating are we in? How many months in?
I mean, not long, maybe like 3.
Okay.
I'm like feeling like I'm getting unhealthy. I mean, I'm physically unhealthy. Like I said, I put on like 40 pounds, bro. Like 40 pounds?
That's a lot of pounds.
It's a lot of pounds. I mean, I went from like 205 to like 240.
Right. Wow.
245.
Wow.
I'm like feeling overweight. I don't feel healthy. And I'm losing friends because, bro, I mean, I'm sure people listening to this can relate. When you're in a toxic relationship, it's like they don't let you evolve and grow and expand. Like, I was stuck in this like group of people that she had to vet. She wouldn't let me, like, if we were to go, me and you, Mikey, were to go to get dinner, it's like, when are you getting home? How long are you going to be gone? I mean, just things like that, little things. And, you know, long story short, again, I leave that relationship and it was for the better.
Yeah.
And weeks later, I found out that she was sleeping with my old roommate who I had left because that was so toxic for me as well. I'm not going to speak for on their behalf. I just know, like, that's what I found out. And I found out, like, through friends, hey, I've got your old boy's location. He's at her apartment all night. And they end up dating. It's not even worth diving into the intricacies of that. But at the time, like, nobody in my life, bro, I felt like could ever have done something to me that was that evil.
Right.
Like, that was the most dark, evil thing of like losing trust and whatever was behind the decisions that those two made. Like, so dark.
Right.
I couldn't even at the time conceptualize the fact that somebody had done something so dark and hurtful to me. Like, that was real. I kept like looking up at the sky and being like, I'm in a movie right now. Like, this is things that happen in TV shows on Netflix. And I'm sitting here in the midst of it. Like, how did I end up here?
Short term or not short term, especially with the roommate, it's very difficult to navigate that sort of pain and frustration. The emotions you felt, were they more so pain, or were they more so like sadness or anger?
Yeah.
How do you?
That's a good question. I think at the time, like, as a man who has grown up the way I've grown up, like, the only emotion you've got is like anger and like happiness. Like, I've got like 2 crayons in the 24 crayon box. And I'm angry. Yeah. I mean, I'm pissed, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that 2 people so close to me at one point in my life could make that decision.
Right.
And then parade it. And they basically created this like little community of like, we hate Matt community in Atlanta.
Wow.
And I like struggle with that, because they got to tell this narrative of like, they had done something so wrong to basically paint me up as this villain and parade this terrible thing they were actively engaging in. Bro, I mean, to this day, like, there's nothing more painful and dark and evil that anybody's ever done to me.
It's difficult for someone else to be able to write your story too, to share a perspective that is not true, but how many lengths do you need to go to explain yourself?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you feel like you needed to go on this whole tour day, save Matt's name?
Yeah, dude, such a good question. Cause I felt like I was at a crossroads with two choices. And it was one, like, you want to go to war? Let's go to war. I mean, I had receipts on both of these people. I knew them so deeply.
Right.
Like the guy I'd previously lived with, like basically when I moved out and told him like, you were not fit to be healthy enough for me to surround myself with, took it so hard. It's like every girl I had went on a date with, talked to in the last 6 months, he had tried to reach out to do exactly what he did with my ex.
Wow.
And I had receipts for it all.
Wow.
And all the things that my ex did to me, I had receipts for every bit of it.
Wow. And
I was sitting here saying like, let me take my receipts. You want to go to war? Like, let's go to war. And bro, I literally, and I haven't told a lot of people this. I can't believe I'm going to put this on public, but I had a letter written to my ex's parents with receipts all in an envelope. Basically been like, this is what's happening. Look at it for yourself.
Wow.
I'm driving to their place, to her parents' place, to put it in their mailbox and basically be like, this is what is happening. Look at it all. And I felt like at the time I was at a crossroads because I could choose to fight or I could choose to heal from stuff with ministry, from stuff with childhood. I mean, all these themes are the same.
Yeah.
And I could heal and I could move on and let it go, or I could fight, which I'm really good at fighting. I'm really good. You want to go to war? Let's go to war. Man,
I know someone who doesn't love the fighting version of Matt Hardeman, and we'll discuss that maybe later.
Right.
So yeah, in that moment, I guess, was it I feel like I need to protect my name. No one's been there to help me. I feel like I owe it to myself to protect my name. I'm going to let people know what the truth is. Is that kind of what led you to write the letter and almost deliver it?
Yeah. I mean, bro, I've got this thing in me because of how I grew up. I mean, having an older dad, immigrant mom, and just the way that my household operated, like I have to defend myself because nobody will do it on my behalf. Yeah. When I was about to get kicked out of school, I had one person vouch for me, but every teacher, every faculty member, every Christian entity was at war because because they felt like I didn't fit their mold. And so I built up this thing in me that I'm the first line of defense and there's no other line after that. And traditionally as a man, this is what I hope people get when they listen to this conversation is like, as a man, my only line of defense was myself. And that's not true.
Yeah.
And that's especially not true as a follower of Jesus. I felt like I had to defend myself because if I didn't stick up for me, then the two options are you get beat up. I got black eyes, cuts all over me. I get beat up, or I defend myself and put up a fight and I either win or lose.
Yep.
That's what I felt like my only options were.
Right.
So in the situation with ex-roommate, ex-girlfriend, I was like, if I don't fight, they just get to continue to go and talk whatever they want to talk or spread whatever rumors they want to spread. And knowing I've got the loaded gun and all the receipts I've got in the back end, you want to fight, let's fight. I'm driving to drop that letter off in my ex's parents' mailbox. And I just felt, man, like the spirit come over me. And I don't know how to explain that again, like theologically. I just remember at the time being like, I felt like God was telling me, if you make this decision right now, you will always be subject to make this decision, that you have to fight rather than trusting that I'm fighting on your behalf. Jeremiah 29:11, I have plans for you to prosper, to give you hope. I'm fighting for you. I'm before you. I'm behind you. And at the time, I remember I can either always take the steering wheel of my life and try to drive and wreck over and over and over, or I can trust that something bigger than me that knows the whole grand story, Matt at 24, 25, and Matt at 45, 55, 65, the whole story that has the pen in his hand, writing the story, the author is a better writer than I am as a character in his story. And I felt that at the time. I pull over in like a on the border parking lot.
Naturally.
Right. I call one of my buddies and I'm like, dude, I'm about to make a mistake right now. And I told him, I was like, I wrote this letter. I've got photos. I've got screenshots. And I'm about to go drop it off. And he goes, Matt, I want you to burn that letter. Get in your car and turn around and call me when you get home. And I turned around and I got home, burnt it, literally took a match to it, burnt it, and called him, and he's like, hey man, these people don't get to dictate your future. Like, these people are nobodies, bro. Do you understand? Like, they don't mean anything. If people create this small community, if people that don't like you, it don't mean nothing. You are you get to make these decisions about where you're going. God's got plans for you. And so I just let it go. Wow. And I moved on. And sure enough, bro, this is what's crazy. And this is the biggest part of this whole episode I hope people hear.
Can I lock in?
That happens. That's like end of February of last year. And basically this girl had kept me so removed from my community, from my friends. When we break up, I'm so excited to get back to it all. And I get my friends together. We go to a concert by a band called Riley, who is the theme song for this episode. So figuring out, the song that you heard called Figure It Out is by Riley. They're friends of mine. We went to a concert by them at a small venue in Atlanta, and less than 100 people for sure. And I buy some of my friends tickets. I'm like, let's just go. These are my buddies. Their music's amazing. And let's just go. We go. And when we go to the small venue, we see advertised for the next night, this thing called the Boot Scoop Boogie.
Naturally.
Right. Which is like this 90s country band concert. I'm like, bro, saddle
right up your alley.
Get your boots and your hats. Let's go.
Come on.
So the next night, this is a Friday. On Saturday, we go to the Boot Scoop Boogie, same night. Random concert venue in Atlanta. Less than 100 people. Entirely small. Me and my friends walk in. We're wearing our cowboy hats, our boots.
Of course.
Whatever. We walk in, we're singing country songs. Yep. All of it. We're having fun, dancing, whatever, singing along. At the end of the concert, 90s country band, random venue in Atlanta, less than 100 people, random person. This is 3 weeks after, removed from all the bull crap I had to deal with in this situation.
Yep.
At this random concert, 90s country cover band, Boot Scoop Boogie Night, less than 100 people, random venue in Atlanta. Random lady walks up to me at the end. She looks at me and says, grabs my arm, looks at me, hey, you'd be amazing on TV. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. Like, that's so kind of you. And she goes, I'm actively casting for this show called Big Brother.
Dude, okay, hold on. I'm in. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah.
I had no idea that's how, because to my knowledge, you apply and you get denied 8 times for 8 years. And then eventually they let you in if you keep hustling.
Yeah.
At Boot Scoot and Boogie.
Yep.
A random lady came up to you.
Yep.
And said, you'd be good.
Yep. Totally random.
When is the next Boot Scoot and Boogie?
We all need to sign up for the Boot Scoot Boogie. Like, random lady comes up to me and she goes, hey, you'd be great on reality TV. And I'm like, that's so kind of you. Like, thank you so much. You know?
Right.
And she's like, no, seriously, I'm going to have somebody call you tomorrow. Give me your phone number and your Instagram. And I'm like, okay. I get home from work the next day. I get a random phone call from LA. I don't know anybody from LA. Random phone call from LA. I answer it. Hey, my name's blank, blank, blank. I'm a part of the casting crew that's casting for Big Brother. This is a little bit about the show. Let me tell you about it. I didn't even know this at the time. I was familiar with Big Brother. I asked my parents about it. My mom, who came from the Philippines, has been following Julie Chen as a news anchor all the way until she's the host of the show Big Brother. My mom used to watch Big Brother to help her in her English. So my mom goes, I'm familiar with that show because I watched it to help me learn English to watch Julie.
Wow.
She's like, Matt, you have to do this. And I'm like, okay. Recruiter's talking to me. This is what this could be. I have no concept for what I'm about to step into, bro. No concept. All I know is I'm like, this is a unique opportunity.
Sure.
Like, I mean, what are we doing? Like, why not take a shot? I'm at this point in my life where everything's changing. I'm at this point in my life where I'm very like everything's lucrative. I can go any direction.
Yep.
And, why not take a shot?
Before you dive into that, I feel like we've discussed a few different phases of your life. Do you think there was any other phases besides that one where you would have taken that shot?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right.
There's no way.
Right.
And this is what why I'm so passionate about telling the story. I think a lot of people are gonna be like, hey man, you started podcasting, you're the first guest on your own podcast. But to me, I'm like,
it's my podcast actually.
right. To me, I'm like, if people just know the story behind what I walked into on that first day, like around this time a year ago, and I had no idea, bro. If you would have told me at the time, everything happening in your life is just preparing you for what's to come. Like, like for anybody listening to this right now, you could be on the other side of the miraculous in your life. I would be willing to bet that God wants to do something so big in your, completely change your life right now. But it's on the other side of, are you going to choose the exact crossroads I was at? Are you going to choose to fight? Or are you going to choose to heal? Are you going to choose to trust him? Are you going to choose to continue to want to grasp on the steering wheel and do it your own way? And for the first time in my life, truly, I was able to say, I am going to allow these people to talk negatively about me, this small, nobody group of people in the city of Atlanta. What, 10 people that have mess to talk about me? Like, looking back, I'm like, I'm so silly to sit and think I was going to give these 10 people the justification to be able to talk bad about me and affect what I think about myself, knowing what was going to happen in my life. I wish I could go back to Matt a year ago and say, man, I know what you're trying to do. You need to believe and trust. You have no idea what's coming. No idea. If you were to know where you're going to be a year from now, bro, we're a year from that moment. That's what's crazy to me. We're 365 days away from that situation. I wish I could go back to previous Matt, and I am telling the person listening to this in that boat right now, and you may think like everything in life is not succumbing to what I would wish I would have hoped it to have been. There's things in my life that are difficult, that are challenging, that I have no hope. I am dealing with people talking about me, with wrestling with these issues. I want that person to hear me, because that is the person that was me a year ago, because I wish I could go back to him and say, Matt, you have no idea what God's going to do in your life. You have no idea what's on the other side of you choosing what is best for you.
There's not many stories biblically that were great and ended great. Most of them, especially when Jesus got involved, were not so great and ended great. And so I think it's pretty cool that hindsight's 2020 is the saying, right? But that we can look back and there's some key themes, right? Where there was moments where that's a pivotal change. And then there's this moment where it's a pivotal change. But I mean, if we know the blueprint, it's just not going to happen that way. We're going to chase that pivotal moment instead of fighting the battles we needed to get to that moment.
Right.
So this lady comes up to you in Boot, Scoot, and Boogie.
Yeah.
Which I'm Googling that immediately after this, because I'm attending all of them until the same thing happens to me. And says you're going to be good on TV. You get a call. What happens?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, this is the funny thing about getting casted for a TV show like this. You do not think it's real. Like, no disrespect to anybody involved in the process, but the entire process, it does not seem legit. You do not think it's real.
Matt, you got stopped by a random lady in Boot, Scoot, and Boogie. None of this seems real to me, and I know you were on the show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
See what I'm saying? I'm sitting here thinking, this is so funny, bro. In the narrative of my recruitment, I'm sitting here thinking, so at the time, professionally, this is what's happening in my career. I end up taking a new job and leaving the job that I took in the corporate world and taking a huge step. I could have made a lot of money in my new job. It was a startup that was going public that year, offering me stock shares, offering me signing bonuses, big on-target earnings, offering big salary if I stayed, tech company. And I am basically perplexed with like, do I ride it out with this company and make money, or do I take a chance on this opportunity that doesn't even seem legit? So I try to play both sides at the same time. I'm basically like, I'm going to run it with my job. I take the job, and I'm going to run it with this little TV show that like, I don't know what's going to happen, and we'll see what happens. And if the show, like, cause bro, at the time, like, I'm a normal guy. Like, I had a normal job. I have a normal life. At the time, I felt like my story's normal. I'm not an influencer. I'm not a model. I am literally just a guy walking on the streets of a random suburb in Georgia and working a normal career trying to make something of myself. There's no way they're going to be that interested in me, this big national TV show. And the thing about the process of getting recruited by a big show like that, I don't know what it's like for other shows. I've talked to many other people from other networks, other shows. For Big Brother, it never feels like it's going to happen. It never does. Wow. They're constantly just like, yeah, it may. And I'm sitting here like, it may. I'm sitting here, I may lose my job. Right. I may leave my family for 3 months. I may blow up my entire life.
Yeah, it's a hard maybe.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here like, I don't know. I can't take a chance on a maybe. Wow. I can't take a chance on a if.
Right.
And I remember at the time, someone I was working with named Aaron Tomasello, who's amazing and kind of took over like my recruitment. Shout out to Aaron. She like is continually just like fighting for me. And the lead casting director of CBS, all CBS shows, she's like, hey, he wants to have a conversation with you. I don't know anything, bro. I'm just like, okay. I mean, it's just another conversation.
Yep.
And he's basically like, hey, Matt, I've heard a lot about you. A lot of people are really excited about you. And here's the thing you need to understand. This is real. This is real. And you need to let you change your life. Help you change your life.
That's the line, huh?
And that man is so good at his job. And he continually casts amazing casts on CBS shows because of things like that. That put me into gear to be like, oh my gosh, they're for real considering me right now. They for real might want to put me on this show. And so at the time, I'm like, why not take a chance? I'll just keep going forward with it. And I end up getting casted. And I go from my small, suburban, simple life. I've never been to Los Angeles in my life. Never been, never.
Right.
Never anything close to this, And I ended up going on the show. And walking in was just the craziest experience. I mean, I'm experiencing all these things that I've never in a million years thought that my life could ever amount to, And
spoiler alert, you end up going on and winning the show. That's how it ends?
That's for the next show. So we end up getting on the show and we walk in and I'm like, I can't believe I'm there. And I felt like at the time obviously when I was getting casted, I watched as many seasons and episodes as possible. And I'm terrified, bro. I'm like, people like me don't seem to do well in the show.
Right.
I'm looking for myself in other casts. And I'm like, this guy kind of does, but like kind of doesn't, or like this season might have. But like the beauty of Big Brother and why it's such an amazing show is like it is truly expect the unexpected. You have no idea what's going to happen. I laugh at people that go in with a strategy.
Yeah.
I went in with a strategy. You think I would have known what was going to happen with me was going to happen?
Yeah.
And I basically went in thinking, I'm too normal to be on the show. Everybody else is going to be model, influencer, some type of following on Instagram, like I don't know. And I went in basically thinking I need to, as quickly as possible, display to people that I am not some Southern, like right only, like mind blocked off to the rest of reality. I'm put into this demographic, into this stereotype. That's all that I am. I'm sitting here thinking like I'm the most like, I have such a diverse story. I have a mom who comes from this place, a dad who both parents grew up in poverty. I'm so used to being in places that don't look like me.
Yeah.
And I need to go, but I played football. I've been an athlete my whole life. I almost played college football. I've been doing all these, I'm a competitor.
Right.
I'm competitive. I'm argumentative. Like I need people to know that I'm not what I look like. And that was the main thing I wanted people to know.
That was the strategy.
Going into the show is basically to say, what you may think of me when you look at me is not actually what I am. Let me tell you my story, which is all real.
Right.
And I was pumped to sit and say, watch me strategize in the show with things that are real and authentic. I don't have to lie to you because I relate to you more than you might think. And you may think this when you look at me, but listen to my story. And so I'm sitting here thinking like, I can't wait to get in here and basically say, man, here's all the work I've done because of the hurt I've experienced. Listen to the story of what happened with my ex and my old best friend 3 months ago, how I've been able to work through that emotionally, psychologically, how I've dedicated myself to healing, how I've involved in therapy. Like, listen to my story. I am not the stereotype jock with two emotions. I've been developing and growing and learning. And that's what I was hoping to represent on the show. So I get in the show and bro, it's crazy because we walk in. First off, like walking into the show is the craziest experience in the world because you're sequestered before, you're like stuck in this hotel, no outside contact, which is very hard for me.
How long?
Like a week and a half.
Wow.
And for me, my lifestyle, I spend 90% of my time outside, you know, like I live a very active outside lifestyle.
Yeah.
Being in that hotel was killing me. I was begging people just to talk to me. PAs would come around, production assistants, because they kind of like run and get you stuff. I'd be like, if somebody would come, I'd be like, hey, can I get some water? And they would bring, you know, production assistant around. I would just stop and be like, hey,
You want to sit down?
what are your dreams? Where do you want to go with your life? Like where do you want to go? How did you get into this? Begging they would talk to me. So when I get in the house, I'm just so ready to like go and talk and meet these people. I'd given up so much. I lost my job to go on the show.
Yeah.
And leaving my family, leaving behind my friends, whatever. And I'm like, I've made a lot of sacrifices to be here. And I'm so ready just to like get in. I get in. And first off, getting in is the craziest experience. It's like, there's no warning. They're basically just like, hey, we need you ready in outfit 1. And then you line up. I'm wearing like my denim on denim thing. And then you just walk through these doors. And then it's like, Julie walks out. You're like, oh, yo, are we live? It's, dude, it's the craziest experience in the world.
Wow.
They don't prep you. Like, they keep you totally in the dark. And so I'm like, it's go time. Like, we're on. And Julie walks up, who, you know, has been like a role model for my mom, my family for so long. We walk into the house. And again, my whole strategy was just to say, how do I tell everybody who I am and all that's happened in my life? And I'm not what I look like. I'm not what I look like. I'm not a jock. I'm not the stereotypical Southern guy that is so pigeonholed in thinking. Like, let me show you who I am, and then use those relationships and whatever means is going to be necessary. So I get on the show, and, you know, in the first week, I'm like looking around. I come in with my 8, and there's a next 8, and I'm like, there's no way I am like the showmance of the season. There's no way.
Not in 1 week.
I'm like, there's no way.
You basically didn't know this was going to be happening. They say, come on set. Julie walks out. All of a sudden, we're going.
Yeah.
You walk into this house. You have strategy that you plan.
Right.
But you're meeting, 15 new people who also have strategy? What's that like?
I mean, for the most part, like, you watch previous seasons. I mean, with the context of like, I had of being.
Did you binge watch previous seasons?
100%.
Yeah.
Like, these season, shout out to everybody on season 20.
Oh, wow.
Season 20 I was so bought into season 20. I mean, I watched all of them, 12, 16, 25, like all the 23, 24, whatever. And season 20 was the one I was so entertained by. I was like, this show's amazing. And really what happened, I started watching with my roommate, who's also one of my best friends. Shout out to Dylan. And we would get so fired up to watch it at the end of the day. And I was like, that's how I know if I can get somebody in my life so excited to watch this show, that's how I know it's going to be right for me. And everybody on season 20, like, that was the season for me. Watching Brett, watching Tyler, watching, I mean, Casey, who ended up winning, who's also Filipino. And like, I can't wait to meet one day.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome for me. And then I got to go on Tyler's podcast. Shout out to the Wavelength podcast and Tyler and Alex. Like, that was the craziest thing in the world. I mean, so season 20 was the one for me that I was super pumped to get into. But you watch all these seasons and you start to think like, here's what I need to do. And honestly, it is crazy. That's just my opinion. Like, to think I'm going to go in with a strategy. I went in with the strategy and went to absolute crap. Yeah. Really quick.
Yeah, I did.
And you just never know. I mean, I wanted to go in just with like open hands.
Yeah.
I think for me, if I'm just being honest, and this is kind of like hard to hear for big reality TV fans, and I don't really care, but I really just wanted to like make close friends. I started to felt like I wanted to be, I wanted 2 things out of my Big Brother experience. I wanted to go to war with somebody.
Sure.
I'm like, I wanted to compete in a competition where it was like big on big, man on man, man on woman, whatever it may be. And we go to war. And I watched multiple seasons where it's like the wall. They're like fatiguing and shaking and shot with all this stuff. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want to just compete, bro. I want to test what I'm made of. I want to dive into this like dark place and pitch my freaking tent. And like in my real life, you know, I run like ultra marathons. I've done, you know, CrossFit, like all this stuff. I love tapping into my limits and I love competing. I want to pick the baddest dude and go to war with that person. And that's what I'm hoping for. And if I get to go on reality TV again, like, I just want to compete, you know?
Yeah.
The social aspect was an aspect I was excited to play and enjoy. But at the end of the day, I wanted to just be like, yo, who's the biggest, baddest, scariest dude? And let me get in his face and be like, you're not what you think, and go to war. As long as it's cool to be like, hey, man, it's all love. Like, that was cool in the end. You know, like, I will go to war with anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not intimidated by nobody, bro. And that's why I was excited to go on the show, because I know that about myself. When I play football that way, I play sports that way, I run races that way, where I'm like, pick the baddest dude, and if we'll see. Like, we'll see what you're made of. We'll see what I'm made of, and either it's you or me.
So did you go in there ready to put that target on your back? You're like, I'm just going to win everything, and we'll see how it goes from there.
I basically thought to myself, going into the Big Brother house, I would get to a point, my social game would only take me to a certain point. Okay. That's how I felt, because I just felt like I am not going to be able to not win physical competitions. Right or wrong, right or wrong. But to me, I was like, there's going to be some physical competition.
Yep.
And I'm going to snap into just being like, bro, I've been waiting for this moment.
This is why so as you mentioned earlier, massive Big Brother fan. I actually don't watch any other reality TV besides Big Brother. It's the only thing I watch.
Yeah.
Every single season. And 20 is one of my favorite seasons as well, besides Cody's season. I'm not sure which one that one was. But I would not be able to hide my competitive edge.
Right.
There's no way. I would go in there trying to not be a threat, and immediately I would want to win the first competition. I don't care if it's like a dumb idea to win the first competition, which it is.
Right.
I would try to win that competition.
100%.
Do you have that same mindset?
Yeah. I mean, to me, especially, like, let's just backtrack for a second.
Sure.
So essentially for me, when I went in the house, I go into the house, and me and Kenny have a really quick connection. I had no idea at the time it was because Kenny was a police officer. He was lying about his profession. And again, man, I'm throwing out my story to anybody who will listen. I'm like, here's what's happened in my life. Here's the hurt I've experienced. Here's what I've had to overcome. Here's the type of man that I want to become so badly. Here's my story. I'm throwing it out to anybody that'll listen. I'm like, man, like, crazy relationship.
Yeah.
This happened with the next. And it put me in this situation where I had to be like, I can no longer be the tough men don't cry type man. I have to be like, I am in therapy. I'm learning about emotional intelligence. I'm learning about EQ. I'm learning how to grow in becoming a comprehensive man, rather than just what a masculine man is defined by our culture and society and upbringing, especially where I'm from. I'm throwing it out to everybody. I throw it out to Kenny in the backyard one day, and I truly thought that I would get this is the irony of it all, bro. If you're listening, you got to be starting to like smile and laugh right here. I knew I would get along with somebody who was of older age on our season. In real life, I am such the like take home to mama type guy. I love meeting my friends' parents. I love meeting people's parents. I love talking to older people because I grew up with an older father. My dad's in his early 80s now.
So
it's all I've been surrounded by.
An older member of the cast, specifically a woman, would be someone that typically you would get along with very well.
100%. Yeah. And so when I go
That's why
in,
you and Kenny are related.
I look at Kenny, I look at Angela, and I remember on night one, I have this moment with Kenny in the backyard where I'm like, yeah, man, my brother was in the Marines, my half brother. My dad was a police officer, retired from the Cobb County Police Department, from the school system for over 30, 40 years.
Wow.
And it's just like shaped who I am. My parents would not let me go into the service because so many people have been forced to go in the service in my family.
Right.
And they wouldn't let me. And I'm just throwing it out. And then I remember literally on night one, bro, I'm telling Angela, I'm like, my mom is such a special person to me. And I tell her I am playing this game to tell the story of my mom. My mom watched Julie host the show to help learn her English. Julie's story is a part of my mom's story. Right. That's a part of why I'm here. I want to win the money to take my mom back to the Philippines.
Wow.
Everybody knew that.
Right.
And I literally tell that to Angela on night one.
Yeah.
I have this moment with Kenny. And bro, people don't know this, but the first HOH on our season was so much closer than what they showed on the edit. Okay. Literally, it comes down to like Kenny, Leah, Angela. And Kenny he was the third person to go, has the opportunity, who was my ally, he slept next to me in the same room. And I remember it's in the edit of the show. I'm like, Kenny, I like you, man. And I want to work with you. And I trusted him. And he's like, man, it's so early. But at the time, like we had a connection.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what I was hoping for. I just wanted like somebody that I ride or died with.
Yep.
And if that meant I got to go to war, I got to compete,
Yep.
and I got to build a strong connection with people, and I was still to go, I would have been like, I tried my best, you know? That was what I feel like was displayed for me in the show. Like I didn't know how far I was going to be able to get, because I felt like people like me only make it so far. Like, and I wrestled with that, and that's not 100% true, but I just wrestled with the fact that like, I don't know how, as extroverted and talkative, and honestly, like pieces of me that are really relatable to a lot of people, that will continually hurt me.
Yeah.
In real life, those are things that help me the most, you know? Like I make a lot of friends. I meet a lot of people. I can talk to anybody. I make friends with strangers quickly.
It's a target in that house, though.
It's a huge target.
Yeah.
And it ended up hurting me. I remember walking into the house, and this is before live feeds were cut on.
Okay.
Bro, so much of my story, I hope you hear me if you're watching this, so much of my story and my time on the show is told when the live feeds were not turned on yet. Some of the connections, some of the gameplay, so much of it in
likely
this
story,
season.
Matt. Likely stories. That's what you're telling us?
Right?
Okay.
And in season 27, this current one about to air, they're not turning it on for 5 days.
Really?
Bro, most of my story is within
5
live
days.
feeds being turned off about connections and conversations I was making with people. I cannot believe that they're delaying it that long, and that's lame. But regardless of the point, like we walk in, live feeds aren't turned on. We have just been allowed to coexist with like I walked in with 8 with the other 8. We're all sitting at the main table in the kitchen, and we're all sitting there, and it's so awkward, bro. I remember feeling like everybody is so afraid, which I anticipated, because you don't want to be the guy.
Right.
Because then you get painted up quick.
Yep.
And I just remember being like, bro, I've been stuck for so long. I can't talk to anyone for so long. And it boiled to the point where I was basically like, I just lost my job. I just walked away from my life to come do this thing. You think I'm gonna sit here all summer long and be freaking weird and be awkward? And I'm like, so I immediately go, and everybody from our cast knows this. I immediately was like, all right, everybody, you know, like, let's get to know each other a little bit. Everybody, let's go around and say your name, where you're from, and let's talk about the worst first date you've ever been on.
First of all, it's not everyone from your cast, brother. Everyone in America who watches the show remembers that moment.
Like, I couldn't help. And so literally I was like, you go first. I just like pointed at somebody random. And we just go, bro, like, this is before live feeds are turned on. This didn't make the episode. We're just sitting around the table, and I'm like, I've made it 30 minutes before I've been able to say, like, everybody's being so awkward and weird. I can't take it. Like, how can I help you just like be you, be normal, you know? And so I'm like, you go. I don't even remember what I pointed out. I'm like, you go first. And then we just go around the table, and everybody's like, yeah, for me, it was this time. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Tell their weird date story. But I really feel like it helped loosen people up. And then I slowly recognized when we got done with that ordeal and we're moving, you know, towards the backyard, I'm like, I have totally played this horribly. I've like definitely put myself in the spotlight. And I now, as I'm in the show, am knowing I'm just going to have to deal with it.
Totally. You don't think it was the denim on denim that did that? You thought it was
it might
have been a little bit of both.
That was what I was nervous about. I was like, people are going to think I'm some like redneck freaking guy, and I'm not gonna be able to show who I am. But it was the thing where I was like, bro, I just got like, everybody's being so awkward and weird, just freaking be normal.
So let me ask you this. Let's rewind a little bit. You're walking into the house, first 8, second 8 comes in. Your initial game plan was mano-a-mano with the biggest person you can find, but obviously you built a really good relationship with Kenny. Anyone else, as you're sitting there not knowing a single bit of information about these people, that caught your attention?
Yeah, well, so really my strategy going into the house was that I thought I was going to get massively stereotyped off rip. And so I was like, I want to find somebody who nobody would ever think I should get along with, and let them understand that I'm more relatable to them than they may think, and hopefully capitalize on that relationship. So I'm looking and being like, I know people are going to think I'm some like Southern country jock. Who is the person that's opposite of me? And how can I find some commonality with them to just be friends? And I was hoping the story as I got out of the show would be like, the unorthodox friendship, like
made it through.
somebody on this side and somebody on this side, so different from each other, turned out to be the closest allies and best friends. And that was not the case. But that was my strategy. I was like, I want to go in and relate and utilize people that are so different than me.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm learning in my real life. That's my strength at this time. And so at the time, like, and they're not even that different from me, but I have this beautiful conversation. I literally was on the phone with Quinn and Joseph separately a couple weeks ago, like a week ago. And we're talking about, there's a conversation we had. Live feeds aren't turned on. Didn't make the episode. Me, Quinn, and Joseph just sit, as guys, and talk about like all these things in our life. I remember Quinn and Joseph just start crying. I start tearing up, talking about the hurt I've experienced, all that I'm working through. And at the end we're like, guys, we should work together. And that's one of the ones I wish I would have taken advantage of.
Yeah.
They end up building the Pentagon.
Yep.
And they would have brought me in. And Joseph still tried to keep me in on his alliance, and was constantly pushing me, go make amends with Angela. I think you should talk to Angela. She's HOH. And I knew at the time, bro, if you watch the show long enough, there's always like some extroverted, outgoing young guy, and then somebody who doesn't fit that mold exactly, is the opposite of that, who takes advantage of this person and then cuts them when it's most beneficial. And I'm like, I'm totally cool with that. I'm like, if somebody who's opposite of me wants to take advantage of me and take me far and then cut me whenever, I'm like, I'll take that. I'll take that when it comes.
100%.
I'm totally okay with that.
That's a cool problem to have later.
Right.
Multiple weeks down the line.
Right. I'm totally okay with that. So, but sure enough, like, we don't end up getting to talk. And sure enough, like, there's a girl on the show who very quickly, like, I build a relationship with.
Interesting.
And a connection with, better to say. And it's so funny, bro. I mean, Mackenzie walks down and I'm like, like, dang it. Hey, we out here, And I'm like, okay. And, she starts talking. She's like, I'm from Texas, and she's smart. Like, she's made it on the show, so she has to be some level of like a degree of woman. And I'm like, man, this girl's beautiful, And but I'm thinking to myself the whole time, I'm like, there's no way I can show how much I'm feeling this girl, like how drawn I am to her. And I'm like playing into my Southern boy, Southern respect, hospitality thing. And I'm like, I'm gonna go get everybody's luggage and move it into the main room so people can grab it. And I go in there and I'm moving people's luggage. I'm holding the door open for people as they come in to get it. And Mackenzie comes and helps me. At this time, basically what was happening, everybody grabs their luggage and goes and picks a bed. We just got in the house. And I was like, I'm cool with being the last person, trusting that chance is just God's plan is just gonna be wherever I land up. So like wherever bed's left, that's what I'm gonna take. And I hope that just suits me best. So I was like, I'm willing to take that chance. I don't want to strategize off these like stereotypes, first impressions. So I grabbed the suitcases, I'm taking them. And sure enough, I started to think to myself, I'm like, I wonder where that pretty girl is gonna go sleep. Like, what if we end up in the same room? Right. What if we end up rooms next to each other?
Do your thing, God. That would be the most ideal right now.
Yeah, I'm like, that wouldn't be bad, but also that would be really dumb in terms 100%. Of the game. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, this girl's gonna go pick a bed, and I wonder if she decides not to because she's waiting to see which bed I pick. And I'm sure in episodes in the future, I'm gonna have my girlfriend Mackenzie Joe come and tell her side of the story. But I'm telling you this day, as I'm helping people move suitcases, all of a sudden she starts helping me, knowing I'm gonna be the last person to pick the bed that I stay in. And then it hits me as I'm moving suitcases. I'm like, dang, we're gonna be the last two to pick beds. Like, what are we gonna do? I was like, I gotta make sure that there's 100 cameras in this room and playing Big Brother that nobody knows. Like, I had somehow orchestrated this, So I'm like, so we get done moving suitcase. She's helping me. So I'm like, dang, we're going to be the last two to pick beds. I get out, I close the door. I get out and go, I'm picking the pink bed. I pick the pink bed. This one's mine. And I thought it was funny. It's like, I pick this bed. And then she picks the bed next to me. And so to this day, me and her argue. And I love that girl, bro. That's my girl. But we argue to this day. I'm like, you picked the bed next to me. And she's like, no, I didn't. I totally just thought, well, I just picked. I'm like, you picked the bed next to me. And then, of course.
It's like a how did we meet debate kind of thing. And it's like, you picked the bed. It was you.
Right.
You picked the bed.
And I'm sitting here, you know, if when the live feeds did turn on, we're keeping people up all night long talking. How am I supposed to resist? You put this beautiful girl next to me. I'm supposed to not
What's a man got to do?
that game?
What's a man got to do?
I mean, come on now. 100%. And I'm single. Yep. I'm healthy. I've been in therapy. Yep. I'm feeling good. My mind's right. My soul's right. Yep. My heart's right. I'm like, I've never been more prepared to step into a healthy relationship based off all the bull crap I just had to go through. I'm like, bro, I'm about to, like, how am I supposed to not get into this thing? So I'm sitting here. She's in the bed next to me. And it's hard, man. We're trying to go to bed. And I'm just like, hey, you know, I might crack a little joke. I'm like,
sure.
These beds are kind of uncomfortable, you know, and like whatever. I just can't help myself. Yep. And then all of a sudden, that's where like people started noticing, like, Mackenzie's obviously such a beautiful girl in the house. I'm in whatever people think of me, and we're next to each other and we're talking all the time. People are like, showmans. Funny enough, first night comes around, we're in the bathroom. First night, bro. We haven't even been in this house a whole day. We're in the bathroom, and this did make the episode. And this older lady walks in, and she's like, Matt's definitely going to end up in a showman's. Before that, she even makes this weird comment. I'm telling Cam, who was a physical therapist, I'm like, yeah, man, I've got some back pain, you know? Like, I feel like my back's kind of tight these days. He's like, bro, yeah, we can stretch that out. And this lady, who she doesn't even deserve her name to be said, she's like, we can help him after the competitions, right? And literally everybody in the room turns and is like, damn, like, calm down. Like, yo. Then I'm like, okay.
Yeah, whoa.
Like, right. Calm down. And then she's like, Matt's definitely going to end up in a showman's. And if you know Big Brother, you know being in a showman's is a target. 100%. Without a doubt. You know being a showman's is a target because you always vote the same way. Yeah. At the time, I was attracted to Mackenzie. I thought Mackenzie was amazing. But I'm not that stupid that I would just walk in thinking I'm playing Love Island. Fair. I'm not the bombshell walking in the villa. I'm playing Big Brother. And she puts that target on me. She's like, Matt, I mean, there's like multiple people in the bathroom. Matt's definitely going to end up in a showman's. And I'm basically here saying like, why me?
Right.
Like, Cam's a good looking guy. Tucker's a good looking guy. Cedric's light skinned and got blue eyes. You kidding me? No. Like, I'm like, why me? And she's like, what do you mean, why you? These girls are just going to eat out of your hand. Like, all these girls, whatever, you're definitely going to end up in a showman's. And I'm like, oh my goodness, can we calm down?
Right.
Knowing like, hey, in the back of my mind, Mackenzie's in the bed next to me. Like, I do feel she's amazing.
Right.
And that may transpire early on, but like, why sit here and just deem?
Right. Why is the target getting painted without?
And if you look at BB25, the season right before with Matt and Riley, I mean, large part of why Riley didn't make it farther than the show, people were nervous she was going to end up in a showman's with Matt. If you look at any season. Yep. That is always a complex at play. Season. So the moment she said that, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, can we calm down? And at the time, I'm thinking to myself, like, all that I've learned in my life about if I just bottle that feeling and emotion, then it will transpire into anger. It'll transpire into vengeance. It'll transpire into bitterness. Right. And bro, here's one thing about me. You know this about me because you're wired the same way like me. Like, I remember saying this in my casting. I'm an Enneagram 8. I feel like conflict is intimacy. I am somebody who like loves to be in the fight. Yep. I'm somebody who's like, when we resolve conflict together, we have went through something real together, and it makes us closer. Yep. I feel like conflict is intimacy. Yep. And people want to sit and tell me when I went and talked to Crazy Lady that was dumb, that was unwise, that wasn't game move. To me, who I am, that was a risk I took at the time that I evaluated. I knew what I was doing. I took that risk and it just didn't pay off.
We're going to be relatable to people who are similar. The conflict is intimacy piece is a really good line because I cannot go to bed without resolving every issue that's in front of me. Yeah. Like, obviously, if there's issues that are going to take time, whatever, but if it's a personal issue, if it's an intimacy issue, one-on-one to somebody, I can't go to bed. I will sit on the phone all night. I will send all the texts. I will meet them in person. We will handle this before I go to bed. Healthy or not healthy, that's my thing. But to your point, of like, man, if I feel the type of way, if I feel some frustration, I'm going to just go talk to him and have this conversation. And that's what you did.
Every single friend I have in my life that has been in my life for years, you, multiple people, we have been able to get over some differences and some things that have gotten in the way of saying like, we may disagree or we've gone to war. And it's at the end of the day been all love. My best friend in the world named Jesse Cash, we will sit and argue for hours, but I love Jesse. It's my boy.
You mentioned it earlier, what like going mano a mano with someone, as long as at the end of it, we're dabbing up, it's all love. That's it.
That's exactly it. That is the closest relationships I have in my life. I've done that with my family. I've done that with mentors. Mentors in my life call me out on stuff I don't like. And it hurts, but that makes me know they care. So I've gotten used to being in tense conversations, hard conversations, which is what I knew I was going to have with Angela in the situation. And I felt like she's putting a target on me for no reason, unfairly. There's multiple attractive single guys in the house. Why me?
So when you're going up to have this conversation, what are you thinking? What's your goal leaving that conversation?
It's really two things. One, I am thinking what I kind of just laid out. If we get through this and we work this out, we will be at such an advantage. The advantage I will have if I get through this point of conflict with the HOH of the first week and we do it together. If she's being like, we had a disagreement, work through it, and that's how I know I can trust you. And I'm able to utilize that. I'm able to influence that, and I'm able to be safe, worth the risk. Nobody else in the house has that assurance. At the time, I'm thinking to myself, I am so willing to go this direction in the hopes that I will have the assurance, not just the first week. And I know if we work through in the first week, I'll have the assurance of the first week, but have an ally moving forward. So I'm like, and I believe this to my core, and I don't care how many people disagree with me. Anybody else in the world, in the house, in the freaking world, that I go and do the same thing with, I promise you, we would have been able to work that out, and it would have been a beautiful alliance moving forward. Anybody with a sane mind that I would have had that conversation with, I can assure you, we would have been able to work it out, and it would have created a beautiful alliance that would have propelled both of us forward in the game and had trust. And being able to work through conflict so early and quickly on would have been such an asset. I remember going into the diary room and they asked me, heard you had a conversation with Angela, saw that. How do you feel like it went? I remember saying, bro, man, I feel like it was so beautiful. I feel like it was such a great example of how to work through something difficult, work through conflict, adult on adult with somebody, and be able to move forward. And I feel like we're closer because of it. That was what I left that conversation with. And after things transpire, I remember thinking, bro, I am about to get just lit up because I can't even believe I just said that. But like at the time, I'm like, that was my strategy going into that conversation. And I don't give a flying fadoodle what anybody else has to say about it, because it would have worked, I believe, with 98% of people.
Of the population.
To say we work through something hard, we find commonality in it, we move on from it, and that builds us so much more trust to be able to utilize forward in the game. I don't deserve what she said. She said things outside the parameters of the game. And sure enough, I took that chance. I went and had a conversation with her.
Are you telling me this conversation did not go well? Is that
conversation went well on my end, but on her end, you know, she ended up rehearsing whatever she did at the end. We wake up the next morning and sure enough, we're all sitting in the kitchen. We just get woken up. We're having our coffee. Every single person is in the kitchen. And I'm feeling like, man, I can't wait to see how me and this lady's new relationship transpires, because we just worked through a hard thing together. And sure enough, I just hear, Matt. And that's where we're going to leave off on episode 1. Thank you so much for being here, and tune in for episode 2. We're going to pick off right where we left off. Figuring out podcast episode 1. We can't wait to see you on episode 2.